Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Namoi Cotton Board and Management, I welcome you to the 2020 AGM. My name is Andrew Metcalf, Company Secretary of Namoi Cotton Limited. Before I hand over to Tim Watson, Namoi Cotton's Chairman, to open the AGM, I wish to advise that considering the current COVID-19 pandemic and social distancing restrictions, the decision was made to hold this AGM virtually, as it is always Namoi Cotton's priority to keep our staff and communities safe. Holding a virtual AGM is new territory for Namoi Cotton and most likely for many of our shareholders. We appreciate your patience and understanding throughout this process, and should we experience any technical difficulties, I apologise in advance. Should a technical issue arise and not resolve within 5 minutes, we will adjourn the meeting and will reconvene at 3 p.m. Sydney time today. If this was to happen, we will lodge an ASX release that will include all the required details. All details regarding this AGM, including the notice of meeting, participation guide and Lumi guide, which is the voting platform we are using today, are published on our website. The notice of meeting was also released to the ASX announcements platform on the 31st of August. I now invite Tim Watson, Chairman of Namoi Cotton, to formally open the 2020 AGM.
Thank you very much, Andrew. On behalf of the Board of Namoi Cotton, I'd like to welcome you to our 2020 Annual General Meeting. Unfortunately, as you're aware, due to the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent travel restrictions, we have to have this as a virtual meeting. I hope you'll bear with us if we encounter any technical difficulties. My name is Tim Watson and I'm the Chairman of the company, and I'll be the Chair of today's meeting. Andrew Metcalf is our Company Secretary and has confirmed we have a quorum. I now declare the meeting open. Firstly, it's my pleasure to introduce my fellow board members. Firstly, one of our grower directors, Glenn Price. And sitting beside Glenn, 1.5 metres apart, is Juanita Hamperson, another one of our grower directors. Thirdly, we have Joe DeLeo. And beside him, we have Ian Wilton, who was appointed in June this year and is seeking re-election later in the annual general meeting, along with myself. And lastly, but not least, we have Robert Green, who, due to border restrictions, is joining remotely from his farm in southern Victoria. Welcome, Robert. We also have our company Chief Executive Officer, Michael Renahan, and our Chief Financial Officer, John Stevenson, also present here today. The company's auditor, Wade Hanson, representing EY, is also present virtually to answer questions in relation to the audit of the company's financial accounts. I would also like to welcome the representatives from Computershare, who I can confirm have joined remotely and will be scrutinising the meeting today. The notice of meeting dated the 20th of August 2020 has been made available to all shareholders on the company's website and on the ASX announcements platform. I will take that notice as read. Given this is a virtual meeting of shareholders, I'll ask Andrew Metcalf, our Company Secretary, to take you through the several procedural matters before I present my Chair's report and deal with the formal business of the meeting. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Tim. I'll now take attendees through procedural matters for this AGM. If for any reason you have difficulties viewing today's presentation, we have included these on our website and they have also been released onto the ASX announcements platform. At the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A button. If you have technical difficulties and would like assistance, please click the Q&A button and type your issue. Shareholders can ask questions during the meeting by using the Q&A button. Before typing your question, please reference the financial report or resolution number 1 to 4 from the notice of meeting so that we can identify what item your question relates to. You may start submitting your questions now. If we receive a number of questions that are similar, we will only answer them once. If we receive a question that does not relate to the notice of meeting, these will be held over and answered in the webinar after closing the formal business of the meeting. We've encouraged shareholders to vote prior to the AGM as advised in the notice of meeting. Voting on all resolutions is by way of a poll, and the Lumi voting platform is being used for this purpose. Access to the Lumi voting platform is found in the explanatory notes section of the notice of meeting and is also published in our shareholder information guide. Voting is now open for all resolutions and will close 5 minutes after the last resolution is put to shareholders by the Chair. The Chair intends to vote undirected proxies in favour of all resolutions, and if there is any change to how the Chair intends to vote undirected proxies, this will be communicated to the meeting. During the meeting, we will display slides for each item of business and the number of proxy votes received for each resolution. The results of voting by way of poll will be released to the ASX as soon as they are available and also displayed on the company's website. I now hand back to Tim Watson to present his Chairman's address, which will be followed by the business of the meeting.
Thank you, Andrew. Once again, I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 Annual General Meeting of Namoi Cotton. Before I present my report, I'd like to remind shareholders that our CEO and CFO will provide a detailed briefing of the last financial year following the closure of the AGM. I invite you to stay on the line and hear from both John and Michael, and encourage you to ask them any questions you may have in regard to our FY 2020 operations. I now present my report, which has been published on the company's website and on the ASX announcements platform. The year in review. New South Wales, as we know, has been severely impacted by over 2 years of unprecedented drought conditions. To say the least, this has had a significant impact on Namoi Cotton. In FY 2020, Namoi Cotton's ginning volumes fell to 450,000 bales, down from 1.2 million bales the previous year in 2019. This in turn led to a $10.99 million loss for the year ended 29th of February 2020. Despite these challenges, our focus on cost control and solid cottonseed trading operations has meant we're able to achieve a positive EBITDA of 4.3 million for the FY 20 in the core business. In our business, droughts are inevitable. Rest assured, your board and management are focused on driving unnecessary costs out of the business so that we can capitalise on the opportunities when it does rain, whilst minimising the downside in the drought years. The company has reacted quickly and made some tough decisions in the last year to ensure we can weather the difficult conditions and react to potential challenges of the future. Our primary goal is, and always has been, to create economic value for our shareholders. In short, we have looked at 2020 as a period of change and subsequent stabilisation. To that end, and to support our long-term financial stability, Namoi Cotton implemented a wide-ranging modernisation plan at the end of 2019. This has enabled the company to save approximately 4.5 million in annualised labour costs, in what was a significant but once only reduction in staffing levels. These people decisions are not easy, and management and the board are mindful of the potential effect they have on our small country communities. The objective is that Namoi Cotton will become more customer-oriented, nimble, and with a clear objective of a results-driven business accountable to shareholders and growers. Michael and his team are focusing on building a resilient company to then enable Namoi Cotton to capitalise on any opportunities that may arise. The drought strategy. As part of the drought strategy and modernisation plan, the board and management have, first of all, minimised any capital expenditure to essential items only. There also will be no short-term incentive pool for the year ended 2021. Currently, there is a review of all costs being undertaken with a focus on cash preservation, and we're continuing to review the ginning portfolio and asset optimisation. Our current debt facilities provide headroom to fund a negative cash flow impact from the 2020 season, year ending 2021. Shareholders can be assured Namoi Cotton is using this period to streamline and strengthen its business operations. So there has been some positives from the last year. I'm pleased to advise that Namoi Cotton successfully resolved our dispute with Cargill Australia with regards to the cottonseed crush facility in Narrabri. The positive aspect of this resolution is that we have a good working relationship with Cargill Australia going forward. Namoi Cotton also has ongoing access to the cottonseed storage facility in Narrabri. Strategically, we see this as a major advantage going forward, and we'll look forward to working with Cargill to maximise future opportunities. Whilst outside the FY20 reporting period, I'd like to provide a brief update on the restructure of our joint venture, the Namoi Cotton Alliance, with our partner Louis Dreyfus. Michael and John will provide more details regarding the transaction in the presentation following the AGM. The board firmly believes that the restructure is to the commercial benefit of both companies. Namoi Cotton will focus on both the cotton origination and grower services to drive more volume through our ginning network. Louis Dreyfus will also take on the financing and risk associated with the lint trading and marketing operation. As you're well aware, global lint trading is a potentially high-risk business, which involves significant exposure to debt. The board firmly believes that the restructure will reduce the financial risk to Namoi Cotton and will eliminate our need for debt funding a lint trading business, better aligning our business exposure with our risk appetite. We feel this is a significant milestone in de-risking Namoi Cotton and will allow us to focus on our core ginning business going forward. Whilst we have de-risked the business, we've reaffirmed our relationship with Louis Dreyfus and believe this will provide more opportunities to our grower customers. Counterparty risk is a major focus of growers, and this marketing partnership with a company as strong as Louis Dreyfus gives our growers the confidence to continue to trade with Namoi Cotton. To be clear also, the ownership split of the warehouse assets and the packing business remains the same. Namoi Cotton will assume operation of the packing business, and we're already seeing significant synergies occur. To the outlook, we're very mindful that the drought has put our growers under significant financial and emotional strain. While we're certainly in drought management mode, we've retained core customer servicing skills to ensure that the business structure is sustainable and successful long into the future. On a positive note, 2020 began with some of the best widespread rain we've seen in over 2 years. Unfortunately, there's still a few areas that have missed out, but in general, the winter crop season is the best we've seen for some time. This should translate into a significant packing volumes for the NCA with similar levels to the record FY 2016 year. Major storage volumes are still low in the north, whereas in the south, volumes are up, with encouraging allocation announcements. Encouragingly, growers are optimistic regarding their planting intentions. Current estimates put the 2021 crop season between 2.1 million and 2.5 million bales, which is in line with our previous forecast. This is encouraging for the upcoming season and ginning volumes. Significantly, all the major climate indicators, as shown on the slide there, are indicating a wetter than average spring and summer. This is the best climate outlook we've had for a number of years. Currently, our team is utilising the drought to actively review other opportunities. Namoi Cotton, through our Commercial Development Manager, Shane McGregor, is in discussion with the northern cotton growers regarding potential opportunities in Northern Australia. Our people. As part of the modernisation plan and change, we've also welcomed this year a new CEO in Michael Renahan. Michael comes from an engineering background, but most recently water related with his previous role at Murray Irrigation. We also welcome John Stevenson, our Chief Financial Officer. John has a wealth of financial experience in the listed ag space and most recently with Wellard, and has recently been appointed as our Joint Company Secretary. On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank Michael, John, and all the executive team for their tireless work and long hours, particularly during the recent Namoi Cotton Alliance renegotiation. Finally, I'd particularly like to thank all our field operations team and recognise the tough year that they've had, particularly emotionally through the changes and also dealing with the drought and the related depression and that goes on with all of that. And to top it all off, the COVID-19 restrictions that we just didn't need to have. Thank you, and we really appreciate your effort. To board and governance, 2020 has seen some significant changes to the board of Namoi Cotton. Firstly, we saw the retirement of Richard Anderson, and then in January 2020, we had the resignation of our long-serving grower director, Stuart Boydell. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Stuart for his tireless and committed contribution to Namoi Cotton. In May, we had the resignation of James Jackson. I'd also like to thank James for the many hours he put in through this transitional phase of Namoi Cotton to help make Namoi Cotton Limited a more focused business. Subsequently in June, Ian Wilton was appointed to fill the casual non-grower director vacancy. I'd like to take this opportunity to formally welcome Ian. Ian is well known to many in the industry, and he has a long and distinguished career in the agricultural sector. We are privileged to have a non-executive director of Ian's calibre join our board. We ask you to support his re-election later in the meeting. 2020 also saw the successful amendment to our constitution, enabling the board to operate with 8 or less directors. It is our intention to continue to operate with a 6-member board. This better aligns the size of the board and the size of the company with the size of the company, and also has the direct impact of reducing costs in these difficult financial conditions. Another change we've made is to amend the board charter to limit the tenure of directors to a maximum number of 12 years. Accordingly, one of our grower directors, Glenn Price, will not be seeking re-election in 2021. The board intends to initiate a recruitment process to find a suitable replacement to ensure a smooth transition when the time comes. Regarding the long-term incentive plan we're proposing later in the meeting, we seek your support for it. In the meeting details of which are also included in the notice of meeting, we feel this better aligns the executive remuneration with our long-term goals, particularly around driving long-term shareholder value. Finally, I would like to thank my fellow directors for the tireless work they've put in behind the scenes. Their effort will help make Namoi Cotton a great business going forward. I would also like to thank them for their support throughout what has been a difficult year. To our growers, thank you for your support during this unprecedented drought. And finally, thank you to our shareholders for your ongoing commitment to Namoi Cotton. We believe that the significant changes we've made to the company will not only ensure the effective operation of Namoi Cotton as a modern and progressive company, but will work to meet the current and changing market conditions both on the ground and across the sector. I'd now like to hand you over to Michael Renahan, our Chief Executive Officer, for a brief report on the year in review.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. My name's Michael Renahan and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Namoi Cotton. I've been with the company now just on 12 months and would like to take you through some of the challenges that have occurred in that period. I am based in Toowoomba and am very excited to be part of the Namoi Cotton team. Before I get into the detail and talk through safety, our financials the future and the forecast, I just want to inform you that we are now on the start of a journey at Namoi Cotton. It is important that we recognise this restructure is positioning the company for the future. And we know 2020 is a difficult year ahead. We believe we'll be well positioned to be the preeminent cotton ginning company in Australia. But first, about our core priority in safety. The well-being of our people is critical in our business and is our number one priority. We have taken enormous efforts to ensure our people are safe, they are well trained, and have clear guidelines and support to achieve these outcomes. Indeed, the lost time injury frequency rate has come down from 20 to 13, a key indicator of success in the safety space. The industry benchmark is 2, and I am pleased to inform our shareholders that this number of 0 has been achieved in September this year. A great effort by our team with strong leadership from all our sites. The other issue I would like to talk about is with regard to our financial discipline. As our chair has indicated, the drought volumes have had significant impact on our operating facilities and the number of sites we are running after a particularly strong year in 2018. One of the critical things that we've had to do in this period is have a focus on cash. And cash represents 3 critical elements. Cost control, particularly around fixed costs. It also includes our cash management and finally our CapEx. In terms of fixed costs, we have taken $4.6 million out of our fixed operating costs through considerable effort to modernise the organisation and right-size it for the upcoming season. This was completed by the end of 2019 with the full support and consideration of our staff. Our people recognised it was critical to ensure the company could face the drought conditions ahead. In terms of cash management, we have kept a weekly eye on the cash inflows and outflows to ensure our business remains strong and forward-looking to anticipate any bumps or hurdles along the way. And finally, in terms of cash flow, our CapEx spend has really been restricted to only essential items, primarily around safety. One highlight of the financial year 20 has been the cottonseed business. Cottonseed is an important raw material into the feedlot ration market, primarily in Northern Australia. Our business has been strongly connected to this industry for many years and has provided a reliable, strong source of feed for a period of time. And this has provided solid returns to Namoi Cotton with our network of storage and handling facilities. Unfortunately, the flip side of this is our trading and marketing business of cotton lint. The NCA business has been negatively impacted early in FY20 by the trade war between the US and China, but more recently by the COVID event, which started in the final month of the financial year. We have put considerable effort and work into making sure we minimise the loss. but we need to be future focused. And so one of the key things we've done is to restructure our organisation with key people with experience and commitment throughout the organisation to adapt to this new challenging work environment. We've found people within our teams who have been willing and capable to run remote sites and work with growers, ensuring that crops were properly ginned in a timely and safe manner. This has given us a basis to take the business forward. The forward-looking estimates are important because, as we've described in FY20, we ginned about 450,000 bales. This year that we're in today, the total Australian crop is estimated at 600,000 bales. A far cry from the 4.5 million crop of 2 years ago. And we need to make sure we have a new proactive approach with our growers in this COVID-19 world. I look forward to working with you over the coming year to make this work even more. I will now hand over to our Chair, Tim Watson.
Thank you, Michael. We now move on to the business of the meeting as found in the notice of meeting. And I'd like to invite our Company Secretary, Andrew Metcalf, to read the resolutions and questions we have received.
Thank you, Tim. The first item of business is to receive and consider the financial report of the company and its controlled entities for the financial year ended 29 February 2020 and the related director's report and auditor's report. Please note that there is no requirement for shareholders to approve these reports. I can confirm that we have not received any questions in respect of the financial report.
Thank you, Andrew. As we have not received any questions, put that to our shareholders, the 4 different resolutions which to be voted on. I'll now hand back to Andrew to read each of the resolutions.
Thank you, Tim. I would just like to remind shareholders that voting by poll is open on the Lumi voting platform. If you have any questions on the voting process, please direct these through the Q&A function. I will now read the first resolution, which is displayed on your screen as follows. Resolution 1 is to consider the remuneration report for the financial year ended 29 February 2020, and if thought fit, pass the following non-binding resolution as an ordinary resolution in accordance with Section 250R of the Corporations Act 2001. The resolution reads as follows, that the remuneration report for the financial year ended 29 February 2020 be adopted. I confirm we have not received any questions in respect of this resolution.
Thank you, Andrew. The proxy votes received are shown on your screen. As Chair, I will be voting the undirected proxies in favour of the resolution. All directors recommend that shareholders vote in favour of the resolution. I now put the motion to you, the shareholders, and request that you vote using the Lumi voting platform that has been provided to you via email. I hand back to Andrew for the resolution number 2.
Thank you, Tim. The next resolution pertains to the re-election of the Chair. It has been resolved by the Board that Director Joe DeLeo be appointed as Acting Chair for the re-election of Tim Watson. Joe will also respond to any questions and put the motion to shareholders. I now ask Joe to take the chair.
Thank you, Company Secretary. I confirm my acceptance to chair the meeting for resolution number 2. Andrew, I would ask that you now read resolution number 2.
Thank you, Joe. Resolution 2 is to consider and, if thought fit, pass the following as an ordinary resolution. that Tim Watson, an independent non-executive director, retiring in accordance with ASX Listing Rule 14.4 and Article 11.4 of the Constitution, being eligible, is re-elected as a director of the company. I confirm we have not received any questions with respect to this resolution.
Thank you, Andrew. The proxy votes received are shown on your screen. As chair, I will be voting these undirected proxies in favour of the resolution. I now put the motion to you, the shareholders, and request that you vote using the Lumi voting platform that has been provided to you via email. Thank you. I'll now hand back to the chair for resolution number 3.
Thank you very much, Joe, for your assistance. I'd now like to ask Andrew to read resolution number 3.
Tim. Resolution 3 is to consider and, if thought fit, pass the following as an ordinary resolution: that Ian Wilton, an independent non-executive director, retiring in accordance with Article 11.8 of the Constitution, being eligible, is re-elected as a director of the company. I confirm we have not received any questions with regard to this resolution.
Thank you, Andrew. The proxy votes received are shown on your screen. As chair, I will be voting these undirected proxies in favour of the resolution. All directors recommend that shareholders vote in favour of the resolution. I now put the motion to you, the shareholders, and request that you vote using the Lumi voting platform that has been provided to you via email. I've now asked Andrew to read resolution number 4.
Thank you, Tim. Resolution 4 is to consider and, if thought fit, pass the following as an ordinary resolution: that for the purposes of Listing Rule 7.2, Exception 13, as an exception to Listing Rule 7.1, and for all other purposes, shareholders approve the equity incentive plan known as the Namoi Cotton Limited Rights Plan. I confirm we have not received any questions with regard to this resolution.
Thank you, Andrew. As we've not received any questions, the proxy votes received are shown on your screen. As chair, I'll also be voting the undirected proxies in favour of the resolution. All directors recommend that shareholders vote in favour of the resolution. I now put the motion to you, the shareholders, and request that you vote using the Lumi voting platform that has been provided to you via email. Okay, that's completed the last item of business in the notice of meeting. I remind shareholders that the poll will remain open for a further 5 minutes. That concludes the formal part of the meeting, which I now declare closed. We'll be taking a brief interlude and return at 11:45, where the CEO, Michael Renahan, and the CFO, John Stevenson, will make presentations to the shareholders. This presentation will provide more detail on the performance of the company and give some insight into the first 6 months of the financial year 2021. The presentation has also been published on the company's website and on the ASX announcements platform. I would like to thank you, our shareholders, for your attendance today and ongoing support of Namoi Cotton. We invite you to stay online and participate in the webinar at 11:45 a.m.